Welcome to Solo Travel TV. This is Yogita Ridgley. I am the CEO and the founder of Traveling with Me, Myself, and I. Today I have a beautiful lady who has traveled for a very first time, and she's excited to share her stories with us. Welcome, Tracy. How are you?
Hello, Yogita. Hello. I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for inviting me here today.
You're very welcome. Tracy, I'm super excited to hear your story because it is a very recent adventure. Let's start with a little bit about yourself. If you can just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. So I'm almost 60 this year in a couple of months, and I've never traveled overseas on my own. I've got two businesses, Skin and Scalp Solutions. So I'm a cosmetic tattoo practitioner, and I tattoo all scalps and brows and lips. And I've also got a motivation resilience for women, where I help women to become more resilient through motivation.
Excellent. A little bit about your family, perhaps, Tracy, because I do know you have a gorgeous family.
Yes, I do. I have two adult children, very, very good looking adult children, very bright, and a husband who works as a sheep and wool broker. So he lives out west, and I live closer to Brisbane to help look after my mother and run my business. I've got one child, our eldest daughter, she's in Melbourne, and our son, Sam, he's in Brisbane. So they've all flown the coop long ago.
Excellent. This is the most exciting part. I love this part because this is where we, especially females, have given so much to the family and done everything we are supposed to, nurture them and love them and support them. And then we get to a place where we're empty nested and we can do things that we have always wanted to do. Now, let's start with the second question. With your very first solo trip overseas, do you want to share with us where you went and how was your adventure?
Oh, yes, I'd love to share with you. So I went to Cairo initially for a World Women's Economic Forum, and that was fabulous. It was 2 days and I was speaking there, so that was absolutely my dream come true, to speak overseas and go to Cairo in Egypt. And then I also travelled down to Aswan and Luxor. So Egypt, I went for 2 weeks, 2 whole weeks, and it was pure heaven. It was my long life dream to go to Egypt. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I never really thought I'd get there. So the end of last year, I had the opportunity to register for this conference, and I thought, right, I'm absolutely going. And then, of course, the COVID-19 hit the shores, and we were all a little bit, do we go, do we not? Still nothing too much had happened, and then I bit the bullet. I spoke to my family because I have a mother who's almost 90, and that was my biggest fear and worry. Do I go or not? And we all decided, yes, I'd go. And I'm so pleased I did, because I managed to have a wonderful time there. My flights were perfect. I was one of the lucky ones because I was with Emirates, and you'd organised all that for me. And I came home without a problem. And I actually did an extra week of quarantine just in case for my mum. So Egypt it was.
Excellent. Now, you said it was your lifetime dream. Tell us a little bit more about it. How did Egypt become your lifetime dream? What was about Egypt that inspired you so much?
I believe it was when as young as grade 3. So I was in school. I went to a lot of schools in my life, 13 and 12 years, because I was a RAF rat, or my father was in the Air Force. So he moved a lot. And I was in Adelaide at the time, and I was at a school there in grade 3, and we learnt about Egyptian pharaohs. And it was fascinating for me, as you can imagine, kings and queens and pharaohs. And the colours, of course, the colours really ignited that for me as well. But the chariots and the pyramids and the whole, I suppose, the intrigue and curiosity of how they built the pyramids. So it was something I'd always wanted to do. And over the years, my yearning to go there got stronger and stronger and stronger. And obviously with the family and job I was in, I really couldn't go away. So my first opportunity was last year.
Excellent. That sounds so exciting. I am super happy that you actually got to do that. Now, when we normally have like this image or dream, and then it is a actual life experience, there's two different what we call it, like feelings or emotions and so forth. How was it like to actually really have that reality come true for you? Did it live up to your expectations?
Absolutely, in every way, plus, 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 plus. I had the initial fear that it was just too good to be true before I left. So I was really worried that something would happen and I wouldn't get on that plane. I was sitting at the Brisbane International Airport and I was so excited I could barely keep still. I was literally hopping up and down, waiting for the call for the flight. And I kept looking around thinking, oh, this is just too good to be true, and waiting for something to go wrong. So I suppose at that stage, the excitement, I was just like a kid, I suppose. It was something that was just out of my reach for so long. And it was out of my reach for a couple of reasons. Number one was because I lost all my identity in a big flood. And because I was born in Malaysia, I didn't, and I was in a Defence Force family, I didn't have the paperwork because 1960, that's my era, 1960 and back, all the paperwork was kept over there. So the paperwork wasn't in Australia. When I went to get my passport, it was extremely difficult over the years until I got to a point where I was so distressed about it. I didn't think I'd ever get my dream. So I waited a few years until I heard on the grapevine that the immigration department was processing without problems, and then I started to do that process, and even that itself wasn't easy at all because I didn't have proof of this and proof of that. So it was quite a tough journey, and with all that comes the fear and the excitement and the emotion. So getting on that plane, I must have had a grin from ear to ear. I was just so excited.
Excellent. It is important to keep on pursuing if you have a dream. I think yours Absolutely. Is a perfect example of that, how not to give up. Paperwork or no paperwork, you were determined and eventually you got there. That is an inspirational story. Now let's get to the third question. How was solo traveling for you? What did you like about solo traveling?
I loved it all. After the trip, and what I loved about it was, Yogita, that you had organised everything for me and you had prepped me extremely well so that I could anticipate the absolute worst that could happen. I was on guard, but without being over the top that I didn't enjoy myself. And I was excited about doing it. So breaking those barriers for myself and going over there. My family were highly supportive of me going, which helped as well. So there was no one in my ear saying, oh, don't go, it's too dangerous. Everyone was saying, go, because they all knew my dream was to go to Egypt. So in terms of solo travel, I was very apprehensive when I got on the plane. I was terrified I'd lose my wallet, my passport. And so I had a strap around my neck and my wallet sat in under my shirt the entire time. And it was the best thing for me to do because I was hands-free all the time. That was probably, for me, a really good strategy because being hands-free meant I could concentrate on everything without the fear of dropping something, of someone taking something, etc. So that was my initial fear down. I had a wonderful flight. I slept the whole way and just absolutely fabulous flight to Dubai and then across to Cairo. I was once again apprehensive when I got off the plane in Dubai because I was very worried that it'd be too big and I'd get lost and all that. But it wasn't. It was everything that you told me it would be to the nth degree. And I met a lot of great people in the airport and we all supported each other finding our way to the terminal and the gate, etc. So I found that my natural ability to speak to people kicked in very quickly, and I helped myself when I wasn't sure. And so then I relaxed straight away. So I felt very calm and confident. I was always on guard, as I should have been, because I had spoken to a lot of people via Facebook who had lived in Egypt, and they had given me very strict instructions what to do and what not to do. My doctor, a beautiful doctor, Dr. Shan Ford here in Toowoomba, she was fabulous, and she's very well travelled. And so between her and the chemist next door, they really prepped me in every way to be medically healthy and at my peak condition every day, what I could eat and what I couldn't eat.
You know, that's exciting. And like you said, it is all about preparation, and especially for the very first time, the more prepared you are, the more relaxed you are, because you want to be enjoying everything. And the preparation is only when you need to. Other than that, you just tend to take in the environment, take in the atmosphere, and just go for it. And I was very lucky to watch your journey on Facebook. So I, you know, the shopping in the market, and I was super proud, like one of those proud moms saying, yay, she got out and did this. So that was amazing. Now, my next question, what was there anything on your solo trip that you didn't like?
No, there wasn't anything. There wasn't anything. It was very confronting going to the bazaar, the big bazaar, very confronting, because there's so many little streets and you feel very vulnerable very quickly. But no, there was absolutely zero that I didn't like. Even when we had a big sandstorm and our Felucca trip got cancelled because of the sandstorm, we were in a fabulous group tour that you'd organised for me with Intrepid, and it was just so well run. And Ahmed, our tour guide, he was fabulous, and it really didn't worry us because he had very kindly taken us on a boat the night before to a Nubian family for dinner. So we had our boat trip. So really we thought we didn't need a second boat trip. We could do without the sleepover on the boat, and he just filled it in with other things. So I found that that's one of the things in life, is to be able to diversify very quickly and adapt to change, which is something I can do easily. And everyone on my tour were the same. And we still talk to each other on WhatsApp.
Yeah, that is really what solo traveling is all about, because when you travel in groups, you tend to stay with the same people and talk to the same people, and you don't ever meet other people on in your surroundings or anything. But when you're solo traveling, oh my God, I have friends all over the world, and we stay in contact all the time. Facebook, you name it, any social media. And that is what makes us the most wisdom, because you have got so many different culture and experiences and stories and so forth. Now, with all solo traveling, there's always one experience that almost changes you as a person. Did you have anything like that?
I had lots of them virtually every day, and it was just like, it was, for me, every single day was priceless. Even just to be able to sit on a stone wall, sorry, and look at the Sphinx in total silence, away from a crowd, and just observe. I found so many of those events all the time, because we were very fortunate with all my tours, because I had two tours, one with the conference and one on my own with Intrepid. And I found everyone did their own thing. So no one felt like they had to stick together. And that's why we all enjoyed each other really well. We slipped in very easily in and out with each other. So I found so many of those, and right down to the camel ride. I mean, before I left, I've ridden heaps of camels, and I'm a horsewoman. So even that, I found, because I was in the backdrop of the pyramids on a sandy dune in a desert, and it was just thought-provoking, and words can't. I'm going back there again next year because there's a range of places like Jordan and Petra and whatnot I want to go and back and see again. But I found it was outstanding every day because I allowed myself to do exactly what you're saying, break away and just find a space and just observe. For me, I love doing that, observing people. I had lots of funny things, really funny things that happened to me, some hilarious things that happened to me, but that every day to be able to find a place and just sit and soak it up and feel it was just mind-blowing for me.
Excellent. Those are the stories that we want to hear. Now, before we finish, the final question. If someone is thinking of going on a solo trip for a very first time, what would your advice be for that person?
Okay, two things. Number one, if you're on social media, get on social media and ask people for help, because you'll get a range of people who come forward and say, I've been there, go and see these places, I've lived there, do this, don't do that, and then find themselves a really good agent like I found you. And honestly, I couldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it without you, because right down to the finest detail of purchasing my visa before I got into, as soon as I got off the plane in Cairo and went through customs, even that simple, what seems simple to me now, but at the beginning there when I walked in, it was quite almost overwhelming. And then at the same time that I was buying my visa, the same guy's giving me my money, you see, and I'm counting the money. I'm going, no, it's not right. It gave me some more. And I gave him back some big notes. I said, no, you'll have to break them down. In the end, he said, here, have some more. And it was just lovely. But there was certainly that gave me incredible confidence, because as I was walking through airports, customs, all that, I was hearing you saying, do this, do that, do this, don't do that, do this. And it was just like clockwork. In fact, I found myself launching into the teacher mode and saying, yes, come with me, do this, do that. And certainly by the time I came home 2 weeks afterwards. So in terms of booking my flights with you, because you knew exactly what time I wanted to leave and I could pace myself perfectly with that. My daughter had spoken to me a lot about getting onto Egyptian time the minute I left the airport. We took off. That was very smart. I didn't have any jet lag going in, because I had a massive 2 weeks, day and night. It was huge. My accommodation, I said to you, I really need the accommodation next door to the conference, purely for the fact that I needed safety walking to and from. Well, it was really funny, because I had to cross 6 lanes of bizarre traffic twice a day, every day, going to and from. But I had to laugh. Because I could hear you and I talking about it all. And what seemed like almost impossible for me was fine. Things like when you explained to me never to take a taxi or an Uber on my own, always to do it through the concierge. Big lesson. All those tips and tricks are absolute gold in every way. I mean, you gave me so many tips and tricks. So right down to the accommodation, to the airport, and to the tour for my second week, I felt that I had the very best experience thanks to you. And I doubt I would have had that experience with someone else. Yeah.
That is way too kind, Tracy. I think this is the thing. My voice was just that safety net, but it is your intuition and it is your life experience that is your, like I call it, authentic power that you all of a sudden tap into, and you have this, and then you have my voice as a confirmation that you've got this. So this is what solo traveling does, is every time you do a trip, you find another level of strength. And this is what my whole purpose of why I want women to go out there and have these experiences, and that you need to continue doing this at least once a year. And I'm sure we will not see the end of your solo travel. This is only the start. And yeah, so I look forward to seeing a lot more stories, and obviously, you know, seeing a lot more of you, obviously. If you're
Yes.
going to Egypt next year, we are as well. So you will no doubt we'll
Yes.
probably be together and do that as
Yes.
an adventure as well. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your story and all the inspirations for people who are thinking of starting on this journey, or that have been sitting on it and haven't had the confidence to go out there and do this. So I really appreciate your time, and see you soon. Thank you so much.
All
Thank
right.
you for
Thank you so
watching.
much. Okay, thanks. Bye.